compositions. They have that in the bag, and let's just see, because I think in this game, both of the drafts have been set, and it's all going to come down to the execution as we dive into the Land of Dawn for the final match of the day, game number 1.
Now, we talked about this lane. I think with the amount of damage that the Simpsons could have in the mid and late game with Cold World and even Farja, I think Fallen could honestly come down to more of a objective-based hero. He doesn't have to be the one who gets kills here. He could be the one who takes towers, split pushes possibly, alleviates pressure, and then gets back to Lord or Turtle in time to still be able to hit a Finch pose in combo it up with that ultimate, with that Tempest of Blades to be able to maybe steal, a Lord or a Turtle here, be able to get around that heavy spin. But it's definitely not going to be easy, and it's a little bit different than what we've been seeing tonight.
Here, though, again, we're going to talk about the matchups here. Firstly, though, in the mid lane, seems like they're going to go for a fight.
Yeah, a little bit of something. NACT be able to wing by wings out of that one, though, but we're already seeing the pressure of this Kagura kind of dominating that lane.
Yeah, it comes down to that mid control, right? Again, if they want to control the early game, you really want to have that wave control, or either wave control or kill pressure, right? I think the Kagura and the Faramis, this combo has both. In terms of clear, they're really solid together with their AoE abilities, and in terms of that pick and kill pressure, we all know the Kagura damage, and we all know the Shadow Stampede from the Faramis. In the XP lane, though, it does feel like it's kind of a stalemate, right? Both of these XP laners are just very sustainable. They're going to have a lot of good trades here, but I do think the Esmeralda has a little bit of an edge. So it's kind of traded in. ACKERMAN have a stronger gold lane. Meanwhile, the Simpsons have a stronger XP laner.
Yeah, and sometimes it can really go both ways as we creep through the game, right? The XP lane can really help open up space for the team of the Simpsons, but also if that Aerothil gets online and Gina gets, falls behind, it could be a problem. Now, Promise is taken out, Lord is up, Mark Cutie with the Black Dragon does come in, but Tarzan able to retry up that Turtle. Now, Mark Cutie gonna zone them away, and ACKERMAN securing their first objectives, not overextending, backing off quickly. They got what they came for, and they're gonna move on. Gauss Cutie does pull a Shadow Stampede in the mid, but still nothing too major on the map just yet.
That was kind of crazy though, right? Tarzan just stole it without the heavy spin. Usually when we do see those kind of steals on the Akai, it's usually because you are able to get that heavy spin down, forcing the enemy jungler back. But Tarzan just went for an ego retry, wins it, and that's a huge confidence boost coming into this game. Game number 1, as we progress into the mid stage, it's going to be a very good confidence boost in the next Retribution battles and contests to come.
And back to, oh, wait a second, Tarzan does get the heavy spin. Nate able to purify out of that using the wing by wings as well to escape. We're already seeing, as you said, that confidence. Tarzan feeling good, ready to make some plays for his team. Now, onto that EXP lane, right? Promise taking a death early on could be a bit of a problem, right? Could be a little bit of something here. Now, Promise, though, like Mirko said, should be able to start coming up on top, but he is a little bit behind. Up in the gold lane, though, a little bit of action. Fallen gets a little bit of poke onto Zia, but once again, the Aerothil just able to kite, move back and forth. A little bit of poke happening as well up on this turtle pit, but still both teams taking it very slow. We're 4 minutes in now. ACKERMAN holding a minimal gold lead of 1,000, but still enough that they can keep this pressure. A nice Yang overturn, though, on to Damien there, bringing him down very low, but he's still able to get away. So nice disengage from both sides. No deaths since the first, and taking things at a light pace here.
And I really like how they are actually playing. ACKERMAN are playing around that top side with the winning lane. This will actually enable Zia to participate in more of these team fights. And even there, Tarzan is actually able to take the orange buff away. Without the retribution, though, they won't really be able to contest the turtle instantly. But that's another just confidence boost again for Tarzan, as he is going to have that retribution in the exact same time as Fallen in this retry battle for the turtle. One level ahead, though, means that he is going to have a little bit more damage on that retry as both of the teams look for this turtle.
And here comes Fallen, does have the Finch pose, but Tarzan and the rest of the team is going to commit, but down comes Feathered Airstrike, getting overturned onto Nate though. The turtle does go to Tarzan once again. Heavy Spin comes out paired up with that Cult Altar, is gonna help them seal this even more. Nate goes down, and a turtle goes to the side of Ackerman, down to the boss side. Mark Cutie having a bit of problems. Promise trying to pick up something from the rest of the team, but the passive locks in, and it's not enough to get the finish, Mirko.
Oh, that was beautiful by Mark QT down below. Also, just a beautiful retribution from Tarzan, who hasn't lost a retry battle at all here today against the Simpsons so far. Fallen, definitely that's going to hit him. You know, he's going to be very frustrated in the next objective contests, but here in the gold lane as well, you can see that Zia is absolutely dominating this 1-1. One level lead. 1-1, Cole isn't even going to be able to recall because Zia notices that he wants to recall and just shoves in the wave, and they're looking for another invade into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, Tarzan really keeping pressure up on it, knowing he's the bulkier person. This is what he needs to do right now, but Fallen doesn't want to quite give it up, but it does get lost over to the side of Ackerman. That is another piece of material in their hands. Now Damien in a bad spot, the conceal play, gets pulled back in, circling eagle, gets bounced back though because of the heavy spin, but that is still a tower. The objective was made, and like chess, pieces are falling for the Simpsons.
It's another good play by Ackerman. They notice where to play because of that winning lane, and now look at Zia. He's not lane swapping towards that bottom side. He actually lane swaps into the mid lane to actually clear out waves and to, again, just try to funnel as much gold as possible into this Irithel. That's already winning lane. Going back to that gold lane, bullying the 1-1 and actually looking for that play.
Yeah, a little bit something up top there, but Cold World doing a good job at just poking, getting those lanes pushed in, and then getting away. Shen as well, though, has been finding his marks, right? He's 1-0-1, able to get first blood onto Nate in the early stages, so we're going to need to keep an eye on that Kagura to be able to find Fallen, find Nate, and Nate is going to have to always be careful. Turtle now down to about 50%. It seems like the Simpsons doesn't even want to contest it. Fallen trying to make up something down at the orange buff, stealing that away from Ackerman at least here. Some items are starting to get locked in though. Berserker's Fury onto Zia.
All right, but here you go again. It does seem like, you know, the Simpsons, they aren't really able to do much on the board right now because ACKERMAN are just so proactive on the map. And like you said, the Berserker's Fury has been completed here by the Irithel, by Zia. And that's just going to be such a massive power spike as they go down below.
Whole world wiped out. A nice knock-up from Marcuti there. Right now, every player in ACKERMAN just playing their part to a T. I was worried that Marcuti was going to have trouble against the Esmeralda, but he is proving us wrong.
But now it gets really tough for Fallen, right? The fact that you lose your orange buff is fine, but if you lose your purple buff like that, it's bad.
Very, very bad, and that is another, like I said, they're just eating up. They're eating away at the Simpsons right now. Marcuti up against Promise. Promise should be able to take this tower unscathed. As long as it's a 1v1, he is handling his own. So Simpsons finding a little bit of ground here in a rough moment.
No purple buff on Ling, right? As a Ling player, I'd rather have everything taken except for that purple buff. And now without the purple buff, that's the kill pressure gone. Look at the Mark QT.
Yeah, it gets the Petrify and the knockup. Fallen up to the wall. I'm not going to help you, Promise. May go down, and on the mid side, ACKERMAN also picking up a tower, making plays everywhere, but Black Dragon comes out. Promise goes down. Fallen does re-engage, wants to try to get something, but Mark Cutie gets the Cult Altar just in time. Gauss Cutie here to save the day, and now they're going to move into the mid side as Damien tries to defend, but a wave of minions is coming, and Zia is going to try to take something here. Gauss Cutie does have his back. We're going to get a little bit of poke onto that tower. Down on the boss side though, Cold World making a move. Damien gets pulled in from that Shadow Stampede as Zia continues to poke. Feathered Airstrike comes down to keep ACKERMAN away, and down on the bot there's still a battle. Cold World gets the crossbow of Tang, at least getting Shen. First kill for the Simpsons on the board.
A good solo kill, very good solo kill by Cold World. Noticing that again, ACKERMAN had most of their resources and most of their players in the mid lane. He decided to go for it. committing even under the turret because he knows that he can go for that 1v1. But again, for Tarzan, he's just gonna go constantly being a nuisance in the enemy jungle, taking away the purple buff, and he's gonna have more control every single time if he keeps on doing this. Ling without the purple buff, you have lost all your killing pressure, basically, right? Your dashes, well, even if you have killing pressure, you can't really escape right after you get the kill. Your Finch boys, your abilities, very limited when it comes down to that energy, so you're gonna have to be very, very careful, but here you go.
Big feathered airstrike does get canceled out by Tarzan, followed up by the heavy spin, and Nate's deleted. A nice DNA overturn to help him. Promise wants to try to re-engage, gets the falling Star Moon onto Zia, but he's taking a bit too much damage. The burst is too much. Simpsons are forced to back off. And this is right before the Lord gets started. Now Ackerman closing their jaws onto this Lord, and Simpsons seem a little helpless, but Fallen has not fallen out just yet. Still trying to keep his distance, but the damage from Zia just a little bit too much. Promise though back into the fray here. Black Dragon comes out, gonna try to keep them all away. Just bide enough time, that's all Ackerman needs to do, but they want more because Mark Cutie with the killing spree picks up one onto Cold World. Now add a Lord on top of that. This is looking very rough for the Simpsons, and Ackerman does not want to let up. They're now gonna move it in on to Promise. Nate dropping the feathered airstrike. Tarzan trying to get the knock up, can't quite do it, but still keeping them away. Lord still coming, ladies and gentlemen, but Ackerman doesn't want to wait. Promise pinned against the wall, able to get away from that though, but the tower still falls, and Lord hasn't even started marching. Mirko.
7-1 and a 6,000 gold lead already built up for the Ackerman, and you can see, man, they are absolutely dominating this game. They're using every little victory that they've gotten from the winning lanes, how they're rotating around the map to get that pressure onto the Simpsons. And now let's take a deep dive again at the item builds for the Irithel. You can see, man, with the Berserker's Fury, he goes for the DHS, noticing that, again, there are a few members that are quite tanky, like the Mathilda and the Esmeralda. He is going to path towards, I believe, an Athena here up against that Farsa. It does get quite annoying, especially now that the Farsa has that lightning truncheon. But overall, we're going to have to see how the Simpsons are able to actually perhaps stall a bit longer, because Ackerman, they're getting a lot of value with just the first Lord, taking every single tier 2 down, and they might actually be looking for more here as they go for another siege.
Yeah, wave of minions coming down the mid. Nate does use a feathered airstrike to try to keep them away from the base, and luckily they're able to do it. Simpsons holding on to nothing but inhibitors at this point. But I mean, it is a long road for the Simpsons if they want to come back from this, right? They have a pretty big deficit, 8,000. Hold on a second though, conceal play coming on to Nate. Nothing gets too made. Promise with the falling Star Moon does land on, but the tower finally does go down. Ackerman now finding a moment to strike. Tarzan comes in with a heavy spin, locks onto Damien. Damien goes down, a mega kill to Mar Cutie, and now they got something. Another inhibitor, another tower, and another kill. This is big for Ackerman.
And it's a bad situation, right, for the Simpsons right now when your jungler is behind the enemy gold laner in terms of XP, and in the top side, Cold World.
Oh, Cold World trying to do something here. Crossbow Tang does go off. Maybe able to get the kill on him. Arcutis takes the dragon out of the sky, but then is brought down by Zia. Zia uses the sprint finally, trying to get a good angle, but the Cult Altar comes just in time. Gauss Cutie here to help push the advantage. Zia continues to push lane, and Simpsons forced to back off. Shen have a little bit of a 1v1 throw up against Promise here. Tosses out the umbrella, but still not enough damage. Promise trying to be that front line for his team, but I think at this point, the damage from Zia and Shen is just too much.
No, it's already actually an 8,000 goal lead for the side of the Simpsons. I mean, for Ackerman against the Simpsons, right? With this, honestly, Ackerman have free reign to do whatever they want. They can use this Lord just to bait the Simpsons out of their base. They can just go for the Lord take by clearing out the waves as well for setup, forcing the Simpsons again to either contest or not contest. But either way, it's a forced error, and Ackerman, they are actually able to bait the Simpsons in.
Yeah, Nate using the feathered airstrike, maybe a little bit too early there. Promise in the backside, trying to lock onto Shen here, but the rest of the team is there. Yin-Yang overturn comes in, but Shen still goes down. Damien has also fallen on the side of the Simpsons as Promise still tries to defend, but Black Dragon comes out. He's going to be able to zone away. There's no retry close to the Lord for the side of the Simpsons. Lord getting low. Fallen has finally Finch posed on top of this wall as Promise continues on the way. Fallen picks up the Lord. That is a huge play. Cold World, though, trying to find more. Pops the crossbow Tang onto Marcuti. Marcuti goes down. Tarzan could be next. Forced to use the heavy spin as a getaway mechanism. And now the Simpsons are finding some ground here. Promise finally able to zone them away as Fallen takes that middle tower. Lord still coming. This is a big comeback, Mirko.
A massive prolonged fight there again on the back of Promise, and obviously Fallen with such an amazing steal. Without the purple buff, you are limited. Your resources, the way you have to use your skills, the Tempest of Blades, and even in the Finch poise to escape. And the fact that he was able to steal the Lord like that, with the feather airstrike being popped early, like you said, they didn't have a whole lot of room or resources to play with, yet it all came down to Promise, who was able to actually zone the Irithel away and even get a few kills. Shen and Zia both taken down. No one can actually deal with Promise right now on the sprint, and it comes down to his itemization, right? Promise, his itemization has been pretty solid here. You can see the Blade Armor, Anti-Cuirass, and the Dominance Ice. 3 physical defense items here instantly just to counter Zia, who now can no longer melt him down that easily, even though he has the DHS and that Malefic Roar.
Yeah, I mean, even with taking those 2 deaths, he's the second player out of both teams to max out his items, right? So he's been able to keep up. He's been able to farm. He knew that he was going to be important in some of these team fights. And now that he's here, now that he has arrived, we're seeing the difference happen. So now ACKERMAN going to need to rethink some of these fights. They can't just roll in like they've been doing in the past. And on top of that, Marcuti also not being as effective as he was in the early game. Cold World able to dance around a bit more. Even Nate, maybe that's why we're seeing those early feathered airstrikes, because he knows I'm only going to get 1 shot for this, and I need to do it before Marcuti's onto me.
And ACKERMAN's gold lead, right? It's just gone completely now. It's basically the Simpsons who actually have the gold lead here. Tarzan still able to secure his own purple buff. But at this point, you know, coming into the 16-minute, into the 17-18, the longer the game goes, that gold lead is going to actually not be that useful anymore. Tarzan tries his best to open up the map there. Again, trying to get information for his team. And right now, it is actually the Simpsons who have better map control, with the bottom side slow pushing, mid lane being dealt with by the Farsa. The ACKERMAN are going to have to be very careful as to how they actually go at it for this Lord contest. They go for the bottom side first, but it's going to be another slow push here that Cold World can actually build up for the Lord. And this time, it is going to be enhanced. If they wait a little bit longer, it is going to be the Evolved Lord.
And I love the way Simpsons are approaching this right now. Like you said, their position on the map, the way they're all spread out, but close enough to still come in, controlling every wave right now. They are definitely bringing their A game for this. A little bit of a rough start, but they are ready. With Lord now on the field, we got a little bit of a jock for position, but the Simpsons not forcing it, maybe waiting for bait, waiting for some of these utilities of ACKERMAN to be used up as Promise continues to harass the middle and top lane. But now Cold World maybe making a move onto Tarzan. Heavy spin does come out, locks onto Damien, but Fallen also here. Nate brings out the feathered airstrike, tries to take down Shen, not quite able to, but Marcuti with the Black Dragon moving on Nate down to the bottom side of this fight. Promise continues to harass onto 3 members with the Falling Star Moon. Colt's Altar is now gone and Promise is still up, but Lord slowly being encroached on. Tarzan knows this is happening, so wants to come in. Promise does finally go down. Tarzan, though, now between 3 members, and ACKERMAN have bought enough time. Tarzan goes down. Fallen picks up the Lord, and Gal's Cutie will be next. Tempest of Blades does come down. He's not able to secure Gal's as Zia shows up just in time. 3 members of the Simpsons fall, 1 member of ACKERMAN, but the Lord does go to the Simpsons. How do you feel? Did ACKERMAN come out on top of that?
Man, honestly, you know, we've seen these scenarios so many times. You go for the Lord, you secure it, but you lose in the team fight. And honestly, it's still much more worth it for ACKERMAN, because with the team fight won, 3 members taken down for 1, it's going to be a lot more room to play with actually for ACKERMAN. They aren't going to be able to firstly clear out this Lord. Secondly, they're going to get this pressure coming in because with the death timer still there, Fallen's going to be down. They can actually look to secure their jungle, open it up a bit, but we are going to take a look at that replay once again. It was a beautiful zone once again from Promise. Was able to take Zia out of the fight for so long. This isolated Tarzan and enabled the team here for the Simpsons to actually go for these kills. Unfortunately though, Fallen, he was baited in a bit too deep. He took the bait and he was punished there. If he stood back, I do believe that the Simpsons would have still been able to find a whole lot of value with that enhanced Lord, but now it comes back to the waiting game again. Both teams are going to have to go for setup. They can't go too aggressive, and they don't need to go for those unnecessary fights. They need to be very careful. That timers are starting to really matter.
Most definitely. I mean, it's 20 minutes in. It's not going to be easy. If one member goes down, 2 members go down, we're looking at a possible easy take. Both teams down to nothing but 2 towers, right? So Fallen, that was definitely, he got a little, I think if he would have just took that Lord, backed off, because they've been playing so smart, so meticulous. So that play right there seemed a little out of character, or maybe a little old character, but wait a second, Promise, almost getting caught off here, able to use the sprint to get away, but still, that will be a Petrify burn for Marcutie, meaning he's not going to have as much presence if a fight comes down now, and the Simpsons might know this, Zia clearing out this bottom wave, and I mean, at this point, it definitely, we're getting to this, wait a second, Tarzan does get the heavy spin, Damien able to get away. I mean, I feel like items pretty much maxed out at this point, right? And both teams are showing up in these team fights. It could definitely swing to anybody's game here, especially the way both teams are being so cautious about it.
Yeah, and right now, again, right, they're both looking for that Lord. This is the moment where you can tell, in the 20th minute, in the late stage of the game, where both of the teams have been thinking out of the box, trying to outsmart each other for so long. It's going to be so hard. Shen, though. Oh, my God. That's a whole lot of damage. A good read by Shen as well. He flickered forward, and that's the winner's truncheon. Baited out of Nate. Flicker for winner. It should be worth it for the winner, but Nate doesn't have the flicker, so without that, okay, good. Sells the winner truncheon, instantly goes for the immortality, and that just buys them a little bit more insurance there in these team fights to survive. But it's going to be a 5v5 here, or 4v4 actually, in the Lord pit.
Yeah, most definitely. It is looking good. Lord does get reset though, so that is kind of good, but the Simpsons wanting to keep pushing in and just kind of keeping ACKERMAN away. They're not trying to force the Lord. They want to make sure they have a very clean position, right? They want to make sure they have a very clean place over this Lord, and now Cold World has found that moment. He's going to start working on this. Fallen also coming in. Nate brings down the Feathered Airstrike to zone even more, and Promise and Damien will do the rest, but the Lord gets reset again, maybe a little bit of a misplay there. Luckily, they are going to be able to keep working on it, but ACKERMAN now possibly could have the chance, especially with the Feathered Airstrike gone. Wait a second though, Gals does pull Damien in. Tarzan with the conceal play, trying to come in. Heavy spin. This is going to be a retry battle, and it will go down, but Fallen picks it up. Marcutie onto the backside, on top of Mate, but in the midst of things, we do see Tarzan fall. Cutie now trying to back up Marcutie, but it's still not enough. Tempest of Blades comes down, able to get the kill. Immortality does pop, but they should be able to get the finish, and that's 3 members of ACKERMAN down. Now it's Zia and Cutie up against Promise, but with the defensive items that Promise is locked in, Zia just isn't doing the damage like he used to. Lord coming soon. This is looking rough for ACKERMAN.
What a play by the Simpsons, that prolonged team fight with the distractions, and now they're looking for that end.
Yeah, this could be bad. All the inhibitors are down. Simpsons continuing to close in. Zia and Cutie are all alone up against 5, but the Feathered Airstrike comes down and the base will go down next. Simpsons take game 1 in this best of 5.
The 1-1 prevails once again. It's just a trend at this point, right? The team that secures the 1-1, they have a higher chance of winning. We saw 3 games in a row, won there previously in the previous match by the 1.